Hi, this is Scott Kilo Sierra 6 Delta Alpha Yankee, and for today's video, I'm going to be reviewing another one of those accessories that TID Radio recently sent me for evaluation. Recently, I reviewed their TD-771 whip antenna, and it now has a permanent home on my TD-H8. But for today, what we're going to be taking a look at is their TD-HM060 speaker mic, which also now has a permanent home on my TD-H8. Fast forward to the end, this thing's good to go, and it works pretty darn good on my TD-H8. I also like the fact that I can set up my branded radio with similarly branded accessories. It's a nice aesthetic thing. Has no practical value, but it appeals to my weirdness, so I kind of like that. But that only works if the accessory is good to go, and like I say, this is good to go. So let's go over the details of the speaker mic itself. While this does work great on the TD-H8, it works great on a lot of other radios as well, because it features the very commonly used K1 type speaker mic connection. Now, the K1 plug set is a Kenwood design, but it was adopted very early on, and it's an extensive use with the import Chinese radio market. And that just features a 3.5 millimeter and 2.5 millimeter plug, spaced appropriately so that it'll interface with the ports on the side of the radio. And it's just a simple matter of plug in and go, and that's exactly what this does. There's no weirdness on plugging it in. It just plugs in and everything is fine. The plug set is a very good construction. There's a decent amount of standoff so that it doesn't interfere with the body of the radio, but it also doesn't protrude excessively from the side of the radio, so excellent there. The cord that it runs into is also very nice. It's got a good matte finish. The length of the coiled plug set or cord set is just the right length. It's got a decent amount of spring to it. It's nice and thick and robust, but not so much so that it's excessively heavy. I do have some speaker mics that use cabling that is just insanely thick and heavy. This is kind of in the Goldilocks zone. It's just the right amount. Now that cord leads into a nice strain relief at the bottom of the speaker mic body. Now, the speaker mic body itself is very reminiscent of the Motorola design that has been in use for many, many years now. While this is not a Motorola product, it does resemble it both in terms of looks and also feel and function. So no issues there. The body itself has a nice matte finish. It has a good substantial feel to it. It's not excessively heavy, but it also doesn't feel flimsy either. The PTT has a nice springy feel to it. It's wide enough so it's easy to hit with the thumb, but it's also not so sensitive that you're going to inadvertently keep bumping the mic open. Now, moving to the back of the radio, we have a belt clip that is secured with a staked pin. It's got a decent amount of spring to it. It's not too wide, so it'll still fit within, like if you wanted to attach this to a vacant Molly channel on your carrier, you could with no problem. It's also not excessively long. Now, that's one problem when you attach these to Molly channels, is sometimes if it extends too long, this actual hook at the bottom will hook through there, and it's a little bit of a pain to get it out. This actually kind of rides right behind the webbing at the bottom, so I happen to like it just like that. Now, the clip itself is removable and replaceable, and all you simply need to do is just take a screwdriver, or if your nails are long enough, you can catch it with your fingernail, but there's a little tab at the top. You just insert between the body and that tab, and pry up, and just press the entire assembly up, and it comes right off, so that if you need to replace it for any reason, you can, or if you want to set up some kind of alternative attachment method, you could do that as well. And it clips right back into place when necessary. The clip itself rotates through 8 different positions, so if you want to have it set up vertically, inverted, angled, on the side, you can, and it'll lock in that position until you otherwise move it. Now, moving to the other side, one of the most important features I always look for in a speaker mic is going to be some kind of a port so that I can attach an audio earpiece, and this has that. There's a little gasket here that you need to pry open. Once you do, it reveals a 3.5 millimeter plug opening so that you can, and that's pretty common to most of, for instance, the audio tube earpieces that I like to use, but just any simple audio earplug or earbud will fit into that with no problem whatsoever. And in fact, you can even use headphones. I was recently talking to a guy in the comments section that wears hearing aids, and he wanted wanted some kind of over-the-ear headphone that he could plug into his radio to monitor radio traffic. And I suggested, hey, just get a speaker mic, go down to Walmart or Best Buy or wherever you can find headphones, find a set of those that you like, and you should be good to go. But another thing you can do is get yourself one of those little patch cords, one of those little coiled cord sets, and you can plug in here and plug into active ear pros such as Walker Razors or Howard Light Impact Sports. And I've got a whole video where I show how to do that and set up kind of a cheap tactical headset system that way. But it's important for me that if I'm having a speaker mic that I have something like that on there. Now, let's talk about weather protection real quick. This is a gasketed port to connect or protect it from water and dust intrusion. But when it comes to actual IP rating on this speaker mic, there is no stated IP rating on the speaker mic. They don't say it's IP54, 66, or 67. They just haven't had it tested. And that's fairly common when it comes to speaker mics because it's a relatively inexpensive accessory. And oftentimes they don't take the extra measure to get them tested. But they do take the extra measure to ensure that there's some gasketing. When you take this apart, I guarantee you're going to find some kind of little rubber gasket in here at the seam. And there have been people that have reported that they've had these in the rain and they haven't had any problems with them whatsoever. Now, I'm not going to guarantee that, and nor have I tried it myself. But whenever I'm dealing with a speaker mic that doesn't have an IP rating, and really any speaker mic for that matter, because IP54 is commonly what these things are rated for. And IP54 is light water droplet. I mean, it's misting essentially. If you're in a driving rain and you have an IP54 speaker mic or radio, chances are good the rain's going to get in that radio or speaker mic, no matter what that rating is, unless it's IP67. So I'm going to throw a quick suggestion out there to you since we're on the topic. In your IMCOM bag or your pack or whatever you use to carry gear into the field or on a hike, always make sure you pack in some Ziploc bags and some rubber bands. And this is a thing going back to military experience with radios. For me, at least, it was back in the very early 80s. And what they would commonly do is take the handsets on the PRC-77 radios, and they would cover the handset and rubber band it at the bottom, just to prevent the handset from malfunctioning due to rain. And that's something I would suggest here. If you get into a driving rain and you want to make sure this gear is going to work and you need it to work, take the extra precaution to cover that. And you may even do the same with the radio. So being able to bag this up and rubber band it tightly at the bottom is going to largely protect it from rain. It won't protect it from submerging in the water, but it will keep it going. Might muffle the sound, but your gear's still going to work. So enough of that. So getting back to this, I don't know if I talked about the matte finish or not, but I happen to like that. There's nothing terribly shiny on this. So that's kind of it in terms of the actual description of the speaker mic. Let's talk about performance issues and signal reports. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break here in a moment, and I'm actually going to do a test where I'm going to transmit into the speaker mic so that you can hear how it sounds, and then I'm going to use the speaker mic to actually transmit into another radio so you can see how the signal, how the audio sounds coming through the speaker mic, and that'll give you a good idea of how this is going to sound. But I will tell you this. Signal report wise, in terms of the microphone, so on send, on transmit, no problems there. I can't really tell the difference between using the radio or the speaker mic, so that's a good thing actually. When it comes to the actual audio, the audio on the speaker in this speaker mic is a bit thinner than the one on the radio itself. It's not terrible, but I will tell you it's not as good as the one on the radio. But the one on the radio is particularly good, but that's fairly common. But given the fact that this is going to be a lot closer to your ear, you can run it at a lower volume, and often will run it at a lower volume because you don't need it blasting from your waist or across the room. But that's fairly common to speaker mics all the way across the board. I've only ever found one or two speaker mics that had really buttery smooth, nice bassy quality to them. And one of the things on those speaker mics is they tend to be very expensive speaker mics. So they are good to go. How about that? Not excellent, but not bad either. good to go. So that's about the best assessment I can give you. But what we'll do at this point, I'll go ahead and break, and I'll do the audio report for you so you can kind of hear it for yourself, and then that'll be that. And I'll even throw in audio through the radio without the speaker mic attached so you can sort of hear the difference. So with that, let's go ahead and break at this point, and I'll go to that coverage now. Audio test, transmitting through a TD-HM060, no speaker mic attached. Kilo Sierra 6 Delta Alpha Yankee, audio test, transmitting through a TD-HM3 with speaker mic attached. Kilo Sierra 6 Delta Alpha Yankee, audio test, transmitting through TD-HM8 without the speaker mic attached through the onboard microphone. Kilo Sierra 6 Delta Alpha Yankee, testing, transmitting through TD-HM8 with the speaker mic attached. So this audio is coming through the speaker mic. Okay, there we go. Those are the audio tests. Go ahead and wrap it up now. You might have noticed that the difference between the audio from the onboard speaker versus the speaker in the speaker microphone, very similar, a little bit thinner, but not half bad, you got to admit. Now, one thing I did definitely notice is that the microphone on the speaker mic is a little bit hotter than the one on the actual radio itself. Kind of in a good way. I noticed that my audio was a little louder and a little clearer through the speaker mic. Now, I was holding them in the same relative position in terms of how far they were from my face. I could probably adjust the mic gain on the radio and bring that up a little bit, and I probably will, because I did notice that the audio was a decent bit lower. But how about the speaker on that TD-HM3? That's not half bad for a little bitty radio, huh? So that's kind of it. This is a very decent and acceptable speaker mic for anybody that has a radio with a K1 connection. And if you have a TID radio TD-HM3 or TD-HM8, this makes an excellent accessory for that. So I'm happy that TID radio sent this to me. I would have no reservations about buying it out of my own pocket. And in fact, we're even considering at this point maybe trying to see if we can't sell these ourselves, because these are pretty good. This is something I've been looking for a while, so I'm very, very happy with this speaker mic. So with that, I will bring it to a close. Thank you for watching and or listening. This is Scott, Kilo Sierra 6 Delta Alpha Yankee from Visalia, California. Have a wonderful day.